At 48 years old, LeBron James breaks his silence, and what he reveals is nothing short of explosive. After 2 decades of dominance, pressure, and unforgettable rivalries, the king finally opens up about the 5 names he truly cannot stand. It's a confession no one expected at this stage of his legendary career. Why now? Why choose this moment to expose the players who pushed him to the edge, challenged his legacy, or betrayed his trust? Fans have argued for years. Analysts have speculated endlessly, but only LeBron knows the real stories behind these long-buried tensions. And today, he's ready to let the world hear them. Raw, unfiltered, and more shocking than anyone imagined. So who made the list? Who are the 5 figures that left scars deep enough for LeBron to call them out publicly? Let's begin with number 5. Number 5, Lance Stephenson. At number 5 is a name that instantly sparks memories of chaos, provocation, and pure unpredictability, Lance Stephenson. For most fans, the rivalry between LeBron and Lance is one of the strangest sagas in modern NBA history, a blend of comedy, irritation, and genuine psychological warfare. But behind the memes and viral clips lies a tension far deeper than the public ever saw. When LeBron was leading the Miami Heat and later the Cleveland Cavaliers, Lance became the irritant that simply wouldn't go away. He wasn't a superstar. He wasn't a franchise player, yet he had a talent for doing something almost no one else dared, getting inside LeBron's head. Teammates from both sides have said privately that Lance would spend entire games studying LeBron's reactions, searching for moments of weakness, frustration, or hesitation. He treated it like a personal mission. One former assistant coach once remarked, "Then came the moment that would define their feud forever, the infamous ear-blowing incident." On national television during one of the most intense playoff battles, Lance leaned over and blew into LeBron's ear, launching 1,000 memes and cementing himself as the NBA's most relentless troll. The world laughed. Commentators replayed it endlessly, but insiders still insist the scene was far from funny for LeBron. Multiple witnesses recalled that LeBron felt disrespected on a deeper level, interpreting the gesture as an attempt to humiliate him at the height of competition. And it didn't stop there. Trash talk behind closed doors, subtle elbows, and constant mind games kept their rivalry burning for years. Producers who worked courtside during those playoff runs claimed they often saw LeBron visibly clench his jaw whenever Lance checked into the game. "You could tell he hated it," one producer said. "It wasn't rivalry, it was irritation that had built up too long." In the end, the strange dynamic between them became a psychological burden for LeBron, something he rarely addressed publicly but never truly forgot. The antics, the disrespect, the constant poking, it all left a mark deeper than the humorous highlight reels suggest. Number 4, Joakim Noah. At number 4 is one of the most unapologetic rivals LeBron James has ever faced, Joakim Noah. Their animosity wasn't born from a single moment. It was a slow burn built over years of playoff wars, bitter trash talk, and 2 completely opposite personalities colliding again and again. Noah was the emotional core of the Chicago Bulls, a fiery leader who thrived on intensity. LeBron, on the other hand, dominated with calculation, precision, and control. Whenever their paths crossed, sparks flew. But what the public saw on TV was only a fraction of the tension that existed between them. Insiders from the Bulls' locker room often said Noah circled games against LeBron on the calendar. He saw LeBron not just as an opponent, but as the symbol of everything his gritty Bulls team tried to overcome. Whenever LeBron walked into the United Center, Noah's energy changed instantly. Eyes sharp, jaw clenched, almost like he was preparing for battle. Their feud erupted publicly during a regular season game when Noah was caught on camera yelling across the court, questioning LeBron's toughness and mocking the way he carried himself. Witnesses near the scorer's table claimed the exchange was far nastier than the microphones picked up. Noah was going after him all night, one staff member remembered. It got personal fast. But the real fire came in the playoffs. Every series between the Bulls and LeBron-led teams was a war. Hard fouls, shouting matches, and constant jawing became the norm. Multiple producers who worked those series said Noah intentionally tried to throw LeBron off his rhythm, pushing him, bumping him, whispering insults that cameras never caught. What bothered LeBron the most, according to people close to him, wasn't just the trash talk, it was the disrespect. Noah openly mocked his decision to join Miami, questioned his leadership, and even dismissed his hometown of Cleveland in a post-game rant that went viral. For LeBron, those words cut deeper than any shove in the paint. Their rivalry spanned nearly a decade, and even as the years passed, the bitterness never fully evaporated. The battles left emotional bruises that LeBron rarely spoke about but never forgot. Number 3. Paul Pierce. Standing at number 3 is a name that carries a rivalry carved deep into NBA history: Paul Pierce. Unlike other feuds built on isolated clashes, the tension between LeBron James and Pierce was a war that lasted more than a decade, filled with playoff heartbreak, personal resentment, and silent grudges that only grew stronger with time. Their story began long before LeBron ever won a championship. When the young phenom first entered the league, Pierce was already a battle-tested star, the face of a Celtics team built on toughness and pride. From the moment they first met on the court, the competitive energy turned into something far more personal. Teammates from both sides later admitted that Pierce viewed LeBron not as a rising player, but as an intruder threatening his legacy. The turning point came during a heated preseason game in 2004 when Pierce allegedly spit in LeBron's direction after a confrontation, a moment rarely discussed publicly but whispered about for years by insiders. One former Cavs staffer recalled, "That incident changed everything. LeBron never saw Pierce the same way again." The league brushed it aside. LeBron didn't, and their rivalry was officially born. Every playoff matchup after that felt like a heavyweight fight. Pierce trash-talked relentlessly, calling out LeBron's leadership, questioning his loyalty to Cleveland, and mocking his decision-making. In return, LeBron attacked him on the court with performances so dominant they became historic. Producers who worked those Eastern Conference battles said the tension backstage was often thicker than what fans saw on TV. Pierce refused to let it go. One cameraman remembered, "Every loss, every win, it felt personal." Then came 2010 and the year LeBron left Cleveland for Miami. Pierce didn't hide his bitterness. According to multiple witnesses, he made comments privately suggesting LeBron took the easy way out, which deeply angered LeBron's inner circle. Even years later on national television, Pierce still refused to give LeBron credit, reigniting old wounds every time he spoke his name. To this day, the tension between them remains one of the NBA's most authentic and long-standing grudges, fueled by pride, competition, and a moment of disrespect LeBron never forgot. Number 2. Draymond Green. At number 2 stands one of the most intense, complicated, and volatile figures in LeBron James's journey, Draymond Green. Unlike other rivalries fueled by pure hatred, this one grew from collision after collision, finals battles, emotional explosions, and a single moment in 2016 that changed NBA history forever. From the moment the Warriors rose to power, Draymond made it his personal mission to unsettle LeBron. He wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the fastest, but he possessed something far more dangerous: relentless intensity and a willingness to cross lines that others avoided. Coaches from Golden State later admitted that Draymond would become a different person whenever facing LeBron. Louder, more physical, more aggressive. Everything escalated during the 2016 NBA Finals. In Game 4, after a heated exchange, Draymond swung his arm and struck LeBron below the belt. The world saw the replay. The league issued a suspension. But what the cameras didn't capture, according to several people near the floor, was the verbal barrage that followed. Witnesses claimed Draymond hurled a string of insults questioning LeBron's toughness, his leadership, and even his legacy, words that cut deeper than the foul itself. Insiders said LeBron felt disrespected on a deeply personal level, not because of the play, but because Draymond had made it ugly, crossing into territory that most players never touch. After the suspension, the series shifted dramatically, and Cleveland completed the greatest comeback in finals history. Quietly, some Warriors staff believe the fallout permanently poisoned the relationship between the two. Even after they reconciled publicly years later, those close to LeBron insist the wound never fully healed. Producers who filmed behind-the-scenes content during All-Star weekends often noted a strange tension, polite interactions, forced laughs, but not the warmth LeBron shows with true friends. "It looked fine on camera," one producer said, "but you could feel the history between them." Draymond's intensity, his willingness to provoke, and the iconic 2016 incident formed a scar LeBron never truly erased. Their rivalry didn't just define a season, it defined an era. Number 1. Dillon Brooks. At number 1, the most relentless, unapologetic, and deliberately antagonistic rival LeBron James has faced in the later stages of his career, Dillon Brooks. Unlike the others on this list, Brooks didn't build his reputation over years of championship duels or historic battles. His rivalry with LeBron erupted suddenly, aggressively, and with a level of disrespect that stunned even longtime NBA observers. It began with subtle trash talk during regular season matchups, but quickly escalated into something far more personal. Brooks, young, hungry, and desperate to be seen as a legitimate star, targeted LeBron with a boldness few players ever dared to show. Insiders from the Grizzlies' locker room later admitted that Brooks would psych himself up before facing LeBron, telling teammates he was going to expose the king. For him, going at LeBron wasn't strategy, it was identity. Everything reached boiling point in the 2023 playoffs. After a Memphis win, Brooks stood in front of cameras and delivered one of the most disrespectful statements LeBron had heard in years. "I don't respect him. He's old." The clip went viral instantly. Fans were shocked. Analysts were stunned. But according to people near the Lakers organization, LeBron was furious. Not at the trash talk, he'd heard that for 2 decades, but at the sheer audacity of a player who hadn't achieved a fraction of what he had, reducing his legacy to age. Witnesses who were courtside during that series recalled moments where LeBron stared Brooks down without saying a word. One cameraman described the atmosphere as electric and dangerous, noting that even referees seemed on edge whenever the two got close. Behind the scenes, producers claimed that Brooks continued the taunts off camera, using small gestures, smirks, and whispers designed specifically to provoke LeBron. And yet, when the Lakers eliminated Memphis, LeBron didn't have to say anything. His play was his response. Still, those close to him insist he never forgot the disrespect. Not because Brooks was a rival, but because he tried to build a name by tearing down a legend. For LeBron, that crossed a line deeper than any playoff battle or physical foul. Dillon Brooks didn't just challenge him, he insulted the foundation of everything he accomplished. Even after revealing all 5 names, there was still one final shock, a truth buried beneath the rivalries, the insults, and the unforgettable clashes. According to insiders close to LeBron, what hurt him most wasn't the trash talk, the fouls, or even the personal jabs. It was the realization that every one of these players tried, in their own way, to undermine his legacy at moments when he was carrying the weight of expectations no athlete had ever faced. Behind the cameras, LeBron once confided to a teammate that these confrontations shaped him more than championships ever did. The pressure, the disrespect, the constant noise. They pushed him into a darker, more focused version of himself, one only few ever saw. And now at 48, reflecting on decades of battles, LeBron's confession reveals a truth deeper than any highlight reel. Greatness always attracts resistance. Each rivalry left scars, some loud, some silent, but all of them forged the competitor he became. Those who tried to break him only sharpened him. Those who mocked him only fueled him. And those who doubted him, they never understood that legends are built not in praise, but in conflict. Today, LeBron stands stronger, clearer, and more self-aware than the young phenom who entered the league 2 decades ago. Time has changed him, but it hasn't softened the truth. Fame casts long shadows, and behind every victory lies a story the world never fully sees. His revelation proves one thing: even kings bleed, but they rise always.